Merlib is over... yeah, Merlib's over there. Yes, please let me in to talk to the Admiral. Thank you. You have remembrance, you say? Far be it from me to deny you. Unannounced or not, I suspect the Admiral would be most displeased if she heard that I had turned you away. Yeah, probably. Like the Navigator. I'd resigned myself to another day spent listening to my advisors prattle on about the Beastman's latest movements. Come, Archon, tell me of your adventures. Sure. Apparently that's the key to do it. 0 key. Guardians still in uncharted waters. I hope these new reforms of theirs meet out with no resistance. 'Twould not be the first grand voyage to run afoul of reefs ere it properly began. But with Sir Emmerich at the helm, they may yet chart a course for generations to follow. Which is not to say our own doesn't need correcting. The Alliance has grown complacent. The bloody nose you gave us with the melee showed me that. Nor have I forgotten the lessons of the banquet. Rest assured, we will root out any further turncoats before the dagger is at our back. You have my word on that, and Lady agrees besides. She had never been one to retreat, much less in the face of transparent theatrics. This had been no ordinary battlefield, its rules of engagement anything but clear. She would watch, and she would learn. In time, she would act. Might as well grab these when we're here too. That is Nidhogg's Rage. Greetings, Archon. I'm ever glad to see you pass through the seventh heaven with purposeful stride, although one of my more persistent patrons will be gladder still. I've been requested to redirect you into his presence at your earliest convenience. If you have a moment to spare from saving the realm, pray rescue my establishment from the piteous mewling of a story-starved minstrel. This will unlock the Nidhogg's Extreme. Archon. I had subsisted on the scraps of travelers, all but wasting away whilst I awaited the full repast that only you can provide. Say you brought an end to the 1,000 years of war, that the great worm Nidhogg shall no more darken the skies of Ishgard. Dragon's song must have a final verse. Beg you, feed me every morsel. I shall devour every sight, every sound, every blow that you landed upon his scaly hide. Glorious fare. Set against brother, a fallen companion saved. I'm revived and restored, and my fingers ache to strum the score. Eternal is the dragon's woe, unceasing doth his anguish. O'er the walls of Ishgard high, blood did his vulgar ally. Eternal is the dragon's rage, dread Nidhogg's wrath did span an age. Sated brother's eye, light will shade, die. What say you? Is your blood not quicken at the tales we're telling? One might accuse the language of being overly flowery, but epic deeds demand epic depictions, do you not agree? Minstrel's Ballad, Nidhogg's Rage unlocked. And then there's also... yeah, When the Bow Wakes is in here. I think. Yep. Got a couple of patch unlocked content to grab. Ah, this one. Okay. Time has come, Warrior of Light. We must move against the Warring Triad now, or suffer the consequences. The seal is cracked and the icons star. Should they be allowed to awaken and resume their titanic conflict, it will be like to the coming of a second calamity. You, Archon, represent our best hope of eliminating this threat. That said, the very act of entering the containment facility itself presents certain unique challenges. So unique, in fact, that I struggled to locate an individual with the requisite talents to surmount them. Were it not for the impressively diverse connections of your fellow scions, I might still be searching. Happily, however, they were able to furnish me with a suitable candidate. Now, along with you and your Echo-blessed companions, all the pieces that we need to proceed with this deadly game are arrayed upon the board. Victory hinges upon no less than the total destruction of the Warring Triad. Also where the interference of those who covet the Elegant's primal harvesting technology. Speak, of course, of the blindly grasping hand of the Garlean Empire and its fumbling agents. The ignorant meddling of the Empire will serve only to hasten the Icon's awakening. It is my master's desire that the Triad be dispatched before Imperial forces delve too deeply. Being the nearest to wakefulness, the Archon Zephyros shall be your first adversary. Make your preparations and join me on the flagship in Azaslaw. We shall speak further there. And that unlocks the first of the Warring Triad trials. Progress that. Which I will be trying to do at the end of the Heavensward patch content. Hopefully not be that much longer, honestly. A little bit of the builder. Ige. You're up. I hit C. Okay. Really looks like I should be able to go out of there, but I guess the answer is no. I'm back here. Okay. Master Archon is Sodomus. That is also how I whisk things. Both flattered and surprised that you should remember my small role in this tale, given the grandeur of your subsequent endeavors. Though I must confess to having derived some selfish pleasure from donning the garments of the shinobi once more. I'm honored to have been able to assist in freeing General Robon from his captivity. I believe I speak for all of my countrymen when I say that we are most grateful to have been granted the opportunity to contribute to the restoration of the scions. Much has changed, it is true, and much may never be as it once was, but in watching you and yours rise from the ashes and rebuild, I am reminded that we must never give in to despair, for there is always something which may yet be saved. And that is the first, and now we are on to the second. We'll be traveling to Ul'dah next. If so, I would ask a favor of you. Provide a special unguent to aid in General Robon's rehabilitation. Injuries such as his must be tended to daily, even long after they have healed. You'd only deliver it to this man, Commander Swift. You will see that the Flame General receives it. And Ul'dah is my return point. Samurai. What's up, Swifty? Greetings, Lieutenant Shade. What is that you have there? A Domon unguent. Unguent? I was not aware the General acquired such stuff. One of our Doman friends made this for him, did she? Very well. I shall be sure to pass it on. Actually, wait here. I've just this moment concluded a meeting, and I expect he would be glad to speak with you before returning to the palace. So, Commander Swift tells me that you came all this way to deliver unguent? That is Robon, and that is not Robon's voice at all. Daily, she says. But best to be prudent. The gods alone know why you agreed to deliver it for her, though. Unless you mean to favor him with that rematch I requested. Just lad. You're on a journey of reflection, are you not? Merwood said as much. And now you want to relive the moment you pulled me from the pit old Milbird left me in to rot. Shames me to think of it, that I was so blind to his hatred. Lorita tells me that it wasn't always so, that Ilbert admitted to him he once believed that I would return to Ala Mhigo at the head of an army. Years passed, and I did nothing. For all my accomplishments, for all my wealth, power, and influence, I did naught to better the plight of my people. Not for lack of trying. But Ilbert didn't know. Thought the bull of Ala Mhigo had grown fat and complacent. That my story set a bad example for our countrymen. Forget your homeland and chase the old dream. Fine, impossible dream which gave men the strength to endure their hardships and try to make new lives for themselves here. Dream had to die. He would kill me, stir up the disillusion, arm them at the monetarist expense, and then... Forgive me. Science paid the price of my failings. The gods know I've no shortage of debts to repay, or vows to keep and duties to discharge. But mark me well, lad, there will be a reckoning. Mayhap today, mayhap tomorrow, but a reckoning there will be. Refugee of a fallen nation, he had risen from the depths of poverty to claim a seat on the Syndicate. For all his great deeds, one was left undone. Like sands through an hourglass, the years slipped away, taking with them an old friend's hope. Out to the Carathos Western. Gorgon Mills? It's Ysayle, isn't it? Where we first met Ysayle. It's right there, right? Hello, random knight. By the fury. Is that you, Mr. Shade? Forgive me, but what reason could you possibly have for returning to this godforsaken place? Fate which brings you here on this day of introspection and reflection. You come to Gorgon Mills to accept the surrender of a half-dozen heretics who once fought for the Lady Iceheart. You're intending to visit the cellars. I would ask that you do nothing to unsettle them. I only fight them if they fight me. Right. I know you. You're at the amphitheater with the Dragon Slayer. Suppose we owe you an apology. Came to us seeking to parley. We were sure it was a scheme to lure out Our Lady. We were sure about a lot of things. When she first shared her revelation, she told us that she was not Saint Shiva reborn. We assumed it was a test. Had we not prayed for salvation? Not descended to deliver us from evil? She replied that our prayers were but fuel for a fever dream, a construct born of desperation and denial. There's no savior, she said. But when we marched upon Ishgard regardless, she pulled us from the brink of oblivion, implored us to find another way. Here we are, ready to lay down our arms at last. It's time. She considered you a friend. It's been different. Maybe we could have been friends too. Farewell. Forsaken by gods and men, they found salvation in revelation. We take up arms against their own kind, to set ancient wrongs to right. Cut out Ishgard's festering heart, and the war would be over. This they knew, believed with all their being, till their savior told them their efforts would for naught. Are we just like speed running Heavensward MSQ? Isn't the great warrior of light himself? You sleeve the dreadworm Nidhogg and bring an end to 1,000 years of war and my very livelihood. Well, go on then. Strike me down and finish the job. Stab me right in the heart. I'll even lend you my spear if you like. After all, I won't be bloody needing it. Dude, chill. Tell me true for a moment I had you fooled. Hey, gods, as if I could hate the man who rid us of Nidhogg. Lest you worry, that business about me losing my livelihood couldn't have been further from the truth. When in fact, peace is proving surprisingly lucrative. As our nation's ties with Hraesvelgur's brood have grown stronger and our interest in Devalia have begun to expand, we've seen a marked increase in the number of travelers on the road. Needless to say, said travelers require protection, which we are only too happy to provide. Granted, such work will not earn you a lordship like slaying a dragon might, but it pays well and is far less prone to ended incineration, which seems a reasonable enough compromise, all things considered. As long as there are wars to fight, there will be those who take up arms not out of hatred or even a sense of duty, but for want of better employment. Presented with an alternative, such individuals may gladly trade their swords for size, or failing that, pledge them to a more worthy cause. This is really, really interesting. Go over a Realm set the stage. It's okay. It was a lot of stage setting. Heavensward story is great. To go over and see and talk to everyone, and to go back through after this huge cultural shifting event and see how people are doing now. It's an interesting touch. No matter, son. Mouth giving you trouble? Journey of Remembrance, eh? God, it feels like only yesterday that your sail turned up in Tailfeather with you in tow. Back into our lives, gone all too soon. Did I ever tell you how we found her, 5 years back? In a torpor, out in the forest, all bare lonesome. We weren't about to leave her there, so we carried her back here and tended to her till she woke up. Didn't say a word for days, you saw. Just sat there and stared up at the sky. The ground held nothing for her. Didn't, we learned, when she finally spoke. Yeah, you might think she's not one to smile, but if you've seen her in those years that followed... Then one day, all of a sudden, she says she's got a truth that must be shared. Up leaves for the gods know where. That was the last we heard of her. For a time. Redemption's not beyond us, friends. Come and hear the truth. Come and hear the Lady Arthar speak. From far and wide, or so the story went. Some said there was nothing in it, but I knew. I knew. I think, Archon, that deep down, most folk want to do right by themselves and by others. And they try. Oh, how they try. You do, certainly. And so did she. Oh my God, did I try?